Hello, it's Isaiah here, CEO of Jubilee Homes, where our mission is to help you be set free, and we do that by helping you get into tiny home ownership without the burden of some lengthy, high-interest mortgage, so that you can be one step closer to financial freedom. And we also help you gain wealth by the appreciation of an asset that you actually own, and ultimately be able to get into small rentals where you can get passive income for life to cover all your expenses. So my family's been building for the last 42 years. We've helped over 30 people or 30 families get into home ownership this last year, and we're looking to help 100,000 families be able to get into home ownership. So with that said, I'm super excited about getting into one of my favorite subjects, how to find a piece of land for your tiny home. This video will be all about if you want to actually own a piece of land, and different strategies to be able to get there. This is, there's going to be several other videos after this where we talk about, do you want to maybe lease a lot if you can't end up buying a lot, either through a mobile home park or maybe from a friend or family or someone else. Or another option is having an ADU, where if you could find somebody that already has an existing house and you can build a tiny home in their backyard, that'd be an accessory dwelling unit. So we're not going to cover those today, but we're going to cover the best option, I think, for people is if they actually own their own lot for the tiny home. So I'm going to show you how to get started on this. There's a lot of variables and analysis that needs to be done on this strategy, but I think this will get you pushed in the right direction. Obviously you gotta check on a lot of things to finalize it, but this is the first step of the process, I think, is, hey, see what's available. So I'm on Zillow, and I'm sure you are familiar with Zillow. It's the most popular website to find a house, and I'm going to show you how I look at Zillow when I'm looking at a place to get a lot for my tiny home. So I just picked Raleigh, North Carolina area, just because in the last videos we've seen that Forbes picked Raleigh as the second best place to live. So it's going to be kind of a hard market compared to some markets like where I'm at in Indiana. But anyway, I'll show you how I'm looking at this. I have no experience in this market, but if I was starting, this is exactly the way I would do it. So obviously look for sale. One thing is, I'm going to keep the price low. I'm going to look at my lower priced option. So I want to look at lots under $50,000. And I want to look at just lots and land. So you can see how I just did that there. And what you're going to see, I have it sorted by homes for you right now, but I want it to sort low to high, so we can start seeing, hey, there is some lower end options. So you can see inside the actual city limits of Raleigh, there is not a lot for the $50,000 price point. So that's too bad. We will see, hey, there's one right here. There's 2 acres for sale. So I will walk you through how I analyze this. So this is super interesting. There's 2 acres for sale, and it looks like there's a very high-end existing development I'm just observing there. So I'm going to guess there's something wrong with this land. This 2 acres is a lot of land to be in a city. Prime location being sold, must be purchased with another thing. Water and sewer are connected. However, there's a $6,000 reimbursement fee to be paid. Interesting, super interesting. The good thing I liked that it said there was a sewer there. That was interesting. One thing I would check, interesting, it's a PUD, which basically means that it's a planned unit development where the developer developed this part, but did not develop this land for some reason. One thing I would check is if it's in a flood zone. So you can do that by looking at the FEMA flood maps, and you can specifically look at your area. I'm not going to do that right now, but that is something that is interesting. Like if maybe that's why it's so cheap, because that is very cheap for 2.8 acres in this area. So just seeing that just makes me a little bit leery of what's going on there. Okay, now this one, $12,000. That looks pretty cool, and it's right next to a lake, which that's interesting. Okay, super interesting pictures. I don't usually see pictures like this. Okay, not even an acre. Looks like there's a driveway. I don't even know if that's a road. but this might be a really cool place to put a tiny home. So 3 stocked ponds, you're right on a lake, that's cool. Off the grid property. Okay, so what that's going to say is that you're going to have to figure out where your waste is going to go if you're going to put in a septic system, which is kind of like having your own sewer plant on your property. Lots of people do it out in the country, so but it usually costs anywhere from $10,000 on the low end all the way up to $20,000, $30,000. If the property is even good, you're going to have to get somebody to check it. You're going to have to get a perk test to see if the soil's good, and to get a professional out there to see if they can even put a septic system in the property. Super interesting though. If you oh, there it is. So if you go down here where it says utilities, it says sewer information. Well, there's no sewer at the property, so it says septic needed, and also a well is needed. That's another thing you have to think about. There's not any water ran to it, so again, there's gonna be a lot of money put into this property. What's this one? $15,000. Some of the best lots, we haven't even looked at zoning yet, see if they're going to allow us to put a tiny home there, but sometimes if you can get like an old city where there's already a lot of small homes in the old city, and there's like for some reason a lot, maybe a house was there and it burned down and somebody's just selling a lot, that's a pretty cool strategy, because sometimes the old city they'll let you put tiny homes because there was already tiny homes there before. Okay, again, this one says septic needed. Alright. Okay. I'm just going to look here. Here's one that's interesting. It's $40,000, a little more, but it's already in an existing city. See, there's houses around it. That makes me feel a little better to, like, utilities are going to be able to get there. Obviously, it's a weird shaped lot, so a lot of people, like, you couldn't put this size house on this lot, maybe. So this one might be a good option for tiny home, possibly. I don't know how this looks, but it looks like it's in a little bit of a gully. Kind of interesting. Trees, you're going to have to do some clearing. But this might be a good option. So prime opportunity, undeveloped. Every single one of them say prime opportunity. Doesn't matter. Prime opportunity if you have lots of money. Alright. No basement, obviously. Okay, utility. Ooh. Sewer information. Public sewer. Water. Public. Good. There is electric, sewer, and water available. Okay, so I like that. There is going to be a cost, obviously, to attach to those things, but it'll probably be cheaper than in your own septic system and all that. Again, it's only been on for 18 days, and there's obviously a lot of action already. But this is something that I think it might work depending on the zoning. You're gonna have to contact, and we'll go through the video and talk about. We'll go through another video where we'll talk about how to talk to the zoning people to see, hey, are you even allowed to build here? Again, you want to take a look at the flood zones, make sure it's not in a flood zone, or maybe it could be in a flood zone, but you could, build your foundation up. But so all we're looking to do in this video is find some options for you to start looking at and going through the process to see, can I or can I not put a home there? Again, I would recommend you do a dry run, maybe 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times with a couple different pieces of property where you kind of go through the investigation process before you actually find the piece of property for you, because you're going to learn a lot every time you go through this process. And especially if you want to get multiple homes in the future, it's really good to learn all this. But again, it's not that hard if you know what you're doing. So with this piece of property, it's a good piece of property where we can take this to see, hey, is this a piece of property that we can even put a tiny home on? So again, here was, please comment below and let me know as you go through this process in your area, maybe some options or thoughts that you found, and things that you've learned. I'd love to hear what we're doing good and what we're doing bad. And so make sure you do that, and then be ready to watch our next video where we go through looking for options to lease a piece of land for your tiny home. And then after that, we're going to look into ADU options. So again, it's all options to find your tiny home. So if you're looking to own a piece of land, step one, like I said, find this piece of property, and then we'll go through and deep dive. Okay, how do I talk to zoning? How do I talk to the sewer people? How do I talk to all the different things that I touched on briefly in this video? We'll deep dive it. So, all right. Go ahead and click on our next video.